So if other folks want to add info in the chat box, cool. If not, I get it. We've got 2 short videos we're going to play. Don't worry, they're not like a whole half-hour long. One will give you a little intro to the Forest for Every Classroom program, which is for educators. One will give you a little intro to the Next Gen program, which is for teens. And then we'll have some time to chat. Ebony's on the line. She's absolutely fantastic and has been around shaping this entire process from Greening Youth Foundation. And Chloe's on the line too. Absolutely fantastic, again, shaping the process from Appalachian Trail Conservancy. So we've got a couple of voices that can answer any questions you have and add little pieces that the videos missed. So with that, I'm going to share screen. And then let me know if you can hear. You should have a video up on your screen. Is that true?
Yes.
Awesome.
Think about how to teach the way they really want to teach. They didn't become teachers to have kids sit in rows and fill out worksheets. They became teachers to spark kids to come alive and be real citizens in our democracy, and that's what they're getting here, I think.
The Georgia Mountains Children's Forest Network essentially works to create opportunities for diverse young Georgians to experience and explore the national forest that's in their backyard. We work with all ages, including a specific 4th grade program, a specific teen program, specific career programs, and by touching educators. By touching educators, we're able to expand our reach dramatically.
The Georgia Mountain Children's Forest Network does this in a focused way with the Forest for Every Classroom program.
Across the nation, both formal and non-formal educators are finding that rooting their educational programming deeply in the local community, both physically and thematically, is an effective strategy for achieving high-priority goals.
All right, awesome. Teamwork.
This is only possible through a collaboration of strong partnerships. We are the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, the Georgia Appalachian Trail Club, the Greening Youth Foundation, and the United States Forest Service.
100 years ago, the Appalachian Trail was built by volunteers and is today still protected and managed and maintained by thousands of volunteers, as much of our community and public lands and waters are. We know that volunteerism is a learned behavior, and that young people with stewardship opportunities are twice as likely to become volunteers in their adulthood. So by offering place-based service learning to teachers in our schools, in our school systems, and to non-formal educators in community centers, after-school programs, and camps, we're building bridges for access and opportunity to a new generation of stewards to discover and defend what we call the Wild East. Since 2005, hundreds of teachers have been inspired by ATC's programming and have been introducing their students to the trail with hands-on projects that address authentic community needs. In the process, we've built a strong coalition and network of trail advocates through teachers, students, parents, volunteers, partners, and communities from Georgia to Maine. Dependent on local partners and local needs, workshops might be titled Trail to Every Classroom, Park for Every Classroom, or Forest for Every Classroom. We're so thrilled and privileged to be able to work with our partners in Northern Georgia and the Children's Forest Network to host the Forest for Every Classroom, and after several years see the impact of teachers and students returning to the National Forest to recreate and to give back.
Hi everyone, my name is Ebony Preston and I'm the Director of Operations with the Greening Youth Foundation, a nonprofit whose mission is to engage underrepresented youth and young adults while connecting them to the outdoors and careers in conservation. We're so excited about the work and collaboration with Forest for Every Classroom because, as most of you know, the real work often starts in the classroom. Our role and privilege here is to connect educators with tools, resources, insight, curriculum, and each other to help transform the thinking, backdrop, and opportunities for our students. With that, we're excited to get to work.
Okay, so what is Forest for Every Classroom? It's a place-based service learning program that's led by educators both within their schools and beyond. It enables K-12 teachers to transform traditional classroom teaching into highly effective and exciting learning opportunities in the outdoors. It uses both the local community and the environment as a starting point to teach curricular content in language arts, math, social studies, science, and other subjects. The FEC program emphasizes hands-on and real-world learning experiences. Essentially, it provides educators with place-based service learning strategies to meeting curricular content and provides them a container in which to practice, cross-pollinate ideas with each other, and focus on development. What makes this different is that it's not just teachers. It's interdisciplinary across many kinds of educators. So there's integration through subjects, grades, everybody's learning from each other. It's also kind of like speed dating between educators and land managers, which is particularly unique and innovative. There's also built-in time for elements beyond instruction. So there are facilitated activities, there's specific time set aside, educators are busy people, for curriculum development. So educators actually leave with an outline, a product that they have created in this context that they can then use.
That's what it's all about. I feel like getting
Change of
teachers,
ideas.
yeah, like a spark that gets them then to want to teach differently.
Yeah, I'd say it's about inspiring them to utilize all of the assets and resources here within the National Forest and on the Appalachian Trail into their curriculum, and that they're excited about sharing that with their students in a way that fits their own discipline and their own age, so that we can have tomorrow's stewards working with our organizations.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really about getting kids comfortable being outside and learning in a different way, and teachers feeling as though they have the skills and the understanding to not just have seat time, and to really engage, pull in community partners, pull in community resources, get kids out doing meaningful projects in the school, the schoolyard, and the community that will make them feel that they can change the world. And I think that the idea that we shared with them initially of the best resource here isn't us, it's you, and getting them to learn from each other is really borne out. I've just been walking around seeing these conversations happen, and they're, talking with people they never met before yesterday morning, and they're, bamming these ideas back and forth and talking about, how to help each other.
And having people from urban settings and rural settings, different schools from all over North Georgia and Metro Atlanta area allows them to really think about what the different needs are and have those ideas and like how they're maybe tackling a small trail or pocket park within their community or even at their school. Like I've heard a couple of people talk about the swamp nearby and how to utilize it and how they might be doing that in another school. So.
And I think they're also pretty excited about hearing ideas from other places around the country.
Yes.
A lot of them have come up and said, well, if they did it here, and this idea from San Francisco, with urban kids, that I could do that with my Atlanta kids and that kind of thing. So, yeah, we're ready.
Okay, so what are the course objectives for Forest for Every Classroom? One is that participants will view public lands from pocket parks to national forests as valuable teaching resources within their communities. Another is that participants will learn to work with community partners to engage students in authentic community-based learning. Another is that participants will work towards creating quality place-based service learning curriculum. FEC is interactive in the way it teaches place-based service learning. So we're using successful case studies, we're using staff as resources, we're giving space for teachers to learn from each other. We are actually using place-based service learning to teach place-based service learning.
There are so many resources that are out there that I had no idea were even out there. So now I want to spend a lot of time getting on the internet and exploring and going to the different partners' websites.
I love the place-based service learning, and just thinking intentionally about where those opportunities are available in the community is important, because without taking that step, it makes it intangible. And just taking 30 minutes to literally map it out shows that everything's within the realm of possibilities. So that's what I really loved.
So we've had many successes with the Forest for Every Classroom program. One of the areas that we've recognized that we could do more, or that more is needed, is in the arena of diversity, equity, and inclusion on public lands. It's something that we touch upon in the original Forest for Every Classroom workshop, but the participants and the partners have all recognized that it's not enough to just skim the surface, that we really need to have deep, hard conversations about what that means, both for public land managers and for how teachers can bring this to their classrooms. So we are working on a tiered program to Forest for Every Classroom that will be launched next year. We've received funding, and we're really excited to work with some amazing partners to pull that together and hopefully share it with all of you soon as a model.
If you'd like to learn more about Forest for Every Classroom or any other Children's Forest Network programs and how you can adapt them to your communities, check out our website or email childrensforestnetwork@gmail.com.
That's one piece. I'm going to put that email in the chat box, and I'm also going to take a second to meet you all in the chat box. And I'll be right back. Cool. I'm seeing you folks in the chat box, and email is in the chat box. So that's the Forest for Every Classroom program, and obviously feel free to throw any questions you have into the chat box or insights you have if you've been a part of similar programs. I'm going to play one more video that's for the Next Gen program. So the Next Gen program, oh, it's beeping and I don't know why, was born out of the FEC program. It was how can we take this a step further? This FEC program that we're running is working. How can we bring it to teams? So I'll play that video and then we'll have some time to chat. I'm going to screen share one more time.
The Appalachian Trail Conservancy, the Georgia...
Y'all can see that, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see it.
Thank you.
Appalachian Trail Club, Greening Youth Foundation, and the U.S. Forest Service have been working together as the Georgian Mountains Children's Forest Network, working to make change. These are the folks who are going to change the world. The Next Gen Forest Ambassador Program helps them out along the way. Avery pretty much says it all right here.
The voices that we all need to be listening to. About a month ago, I went on my first national forest ever, Chattahoochee, and I spent 4 days camping, hiking, and experiencing, and going through with these people, and it was really nice. And now I guess technically I can call myself the richest landowner, but only because I own millions of acres, but not just for it's all it's for all of us. But may not be there in the next 50 years. If we don't all take care of it, then who knows? Our future children may not even know what the national forest is.
The Next Gen program was born from the question, how can we help increase diversity and inclusion in public land access? And demonstrates how effective responses to that question must be multi-pronged. CFN's Next Gen program models successful partnership collaboration that engages budding environmental stewards and supports them as they carry their stewardship into their neighborhoods and schools. In a typical Next Gen year, 25 students are selected based upon rigorous application process, including recommendations being required. The Next Gen Teen Experience involves a 4-day, 3-night excursion through national forest lands. Participants learn about the forest, outdoor recreation skills, leave no trace, leadership skills, and provide their unique perspectives and contribute to solutions-based conversations during a youth summit where they tackle some of the issues that prevent young people from connecting with the outdoors. Through guest speakers and educators, a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion permeates the experience, encouraging these budding ambassadors to claim their inheritance of these lands and inspire others to do the same.
Your future starts now. I just wanted to narrate. If you're listening to me, I just want you to know that you are great.
5 next-gen alumni are invited, based on demonstrated leadership qualities, and paired with a mentor, each participant commits to 10 hours of documented stewardship service and is paid a small stipend for this commitment. All meals and accommodations are provided on this free program, and free transportation and gear is available for all who desire. Dun, 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 dun. And then the year 2020 hit, and we had to rethink everything. We discovered just how nimble this program really is as we pivoted to host it on virtual platforms. We identified what themes were so core that they needed to be a part of a whole group session. And we identified what themes could be a part of a menu of ambassadors' choice options, a choose your own adventure, if you will. We maintained the mentor support and the stewardship projects and bolstered up the resource list. Ambassadors' choice options included Eastern Band of Cherokee Stories with teacher and elder Gil Jackson, birding with a focus on birding while black with expert and leader Jason Ward, nature hike rooted in local lands with lifelong Georgian Forrest Hillier, tree ID with ethnobotanist Mark Williams, and ephemeral nature art inspired by the organic artist. Here's a glimpse from some of our virtual sessions.
Hi, my name is Doi, but I also have another Cherokee name, and it's Utanegedguali, which means a strong friend. At one time, we did not believe you could own land. We do not believe that we can own the air. We do not believe that we can own water.
It took a while for me to become confident enough to just be myself in this space and to be able to walk around telling people where to look, what to ID, what to look for, being able to stand up on a stage and give a talk in front of 150 people. Right? It takes some time. But what helped along the way is finding other people who looked like me, who were already in the field, that I can go to for advice, that I can bounce ideas off of. So if you're thinking about becoming a birder, my first advice is going to be find your flock.
The kind of vernacular name for it now is the Wood Wide Web. And even when I was in college, certainly for my undergrad, like 15 years ago, it was considered the exception that plants would be linked up like you're describing with what are called the mycorrhizae, these mushrooms that will connect all the plants underneath the ground through the soil. But now it's considered like that's standard, like most plants definitely do that. And there's all sorts of amazing research that like shows like what a benefit that is. Like when a plant gets attacked, for instance, and needs to boost its defensive compounds, then that plant can warn the other plants in the forest, I'm under attack, boost your compounds, even before the other plants get attacked.
And I thought I would use these blackberries as my inspiration to paint. So I'm just gonna do this really quickly. Can I help, Mommy? You can watch, baby girl. So here's my paintbrush. And we can just kind of replicate this pattern.
And of course, you see the injustices around you. And just know that your voice is powerful. Your voice, no matter how people may perceive you, you can make a difference. So speak up for others. Take care of others. Take care, as an ally, work with others, represent, but also partner and collaborate where you can and really, really, listen to others and hear their stories and hear yours, obviously.
As far as stewardship projects, check out these examples.
Plant the tree that you planted. Every seed sown has its proper place. Always on the run, but we leave no trace. And even though we camp till the morning, we're ready for a new day dawning. A forest full of trees is an army. They give us what we need so that we can live. You never see me running away. Together we can all.
As far as program outcomes, these projects alone just shine. So what are the key elements that really make this work? The one-on-one mentorship model is huge. The stewardship projects are critical. A program coordinator, we had a full-time position, and the fact that everybody's coming from a diversity of backgrounds, ambassadors, mentors, instructors, everybody.
Public lands to me was something that I never really decided to care for until after Next Gen, and that is something that Next Gen changed me as a person.
Ready for a new day dawning. A forest full of trees is an army. They give us what we need so that we can live. You never see me running away. Together we can all. A forest full of trees is an army. They give us what we need so that we can live. You never see me running away. Together we can all make land is yours, yours, no hesitation, yours, yours.
So I'm seeing the chat box. Those are the videos, and now we just have some time to chat. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to jump on, and Ebony, Chloe, or I can address them. And yeah, I'll give it a minute, and if not, I'll just get us started with one. I might get us started with one as folks think. So either Ebony or Chloe or both of y'all, what surprised you in this process?
I would say my name is Chloe. I work with the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and I've been with FEC and Next Gen for 2 years now. And constantly, I'm amazed by the amount of work it takes to pull off to put on one of these events. Traditionally, in a non-pandemic year, when we are hosting an event in March, we start planning for that in September. And so while it does take multiple calls a month, planning out the facilitator's agenda, making sure we have the right partners on board, there's lots and lots of communication and adaptability and flexibility among all the partners. So it's kind of two things that continually surprise me: the amount of work that it takes and the flexibility of everyone that is part of the planning team, and the willingness to work, to learn, and to grow from one another.
Something that surprised me, I guess, but it's a good surprise, is really the boldness of the students, I would say, and that some of them, this is their first time really being in this environment, literally speaking, and then for others, they do it all the time. But regardless, when they come together and they go through the sessions and they're like, this is what I want to do, this is what my stewardship project is going to be, they really commit to it. And we're like, whoa, that's a lot to do. Are you sure you're going to be? They're like, absolutely. And then they go beyond that. So just their willingness and dedication to do the work and be engaged and to see it go beyond the program itself, it's truly inspiring.
There are 2 questions in the chat.
Thank you. I'm seeing 1, how do students connect with these programs? And 2, can we volunteer to mentor students? And I want to say I was so cognizant of time that I didn't really give Chloe or Ebony solid introductions. So y'all, if you want to fill in what I want to say about them as individuals, they are stellar human beings, and as partners to work with professionally, their organizations are incredible. So Chloe with Appalachian Trail Conservancy and Ebony with Reigning Youth Foundation. Y'all add in pieces that you would like to, and these programs would not be possible without them at all. Do you want to speak to either or both of those questions? How do students connect with these programs, and can we volunteer to mentor students?
I think first and foremost to connect with these programs is to use that email address that Kelsey provided you and to get on our main distribution list, because when we do have these events locked in and we have a save the date announcement, we're going to be reaching out to that email list and alumni from FEC or Next Gen, and then school administrators all throughout North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. So the first step I'd say is making sure you're on our radar. So, and emailing that list or emailing the email that Kelsey provided is probably the best first start. But Kelsey, you're the admin side of that, so I want to make sure that I'm.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Great. And I'll let one of you guys take on the volunteer to mentor students question.
Ebony, would you like to, or do you want me to pipe up?
Sure. Well, I'll say it's twofold. And so Kelsey speaks more specifically to these programs, but I'll say that, all the partners within this partnership here have made it a point and a priority to get as many people connected, I would say. That's a big part of it. So I definitely think there's opportunity to mentor the students. Maybe it's a part of these programs early on, and you say, as Chloe said, there's a whole lot of work to be done at the beginning. So coming in there and just, okay, hey, I want to be a part of these sessions with the students. What does that look like? I think a part of it early is just making that commitment to say I have the time, because it is a lot of time. And then kind of being along for the ride and the willingness and readiness to do that. But like I said before, all the organizations do a lot of programming and work. And so I would just say, as Chloe said, just kind of getting on that radar and let folks know that you're interested in and what you like for that to look like.
Yeah, spot on. Is there opportunity to sponsor individual students, teachers who may not be able to afford to attend otherwise? Email me. Thank you for that question.
And to that, the great part, I think the most equitable part of this program is that they're free to attend for students. So there is no cost barrier to any teacher or student, whether it's FEC or Next Gen. And that is a core component that's never going to go away and is what makes this program so accessible.
Thanks for that. I see that we have 8 minutes left, and so I want to throw out this question. I'm thinking about when we shifted to virtual, and lots of things shifted in many of our universes. What, Ebony and Chloe, what have y'all learned so far in this process, personally and in this work, about creating opportunities out of moments of change? The Next Gen program kind of took this flip and said, hey, this could be a setback, but let's take it as an opportunity.
I think that was the lesson, that not to let this be a setback and make it an opportunity. So of course we had to flex a bit, right, and show our agility, but we were able to continue the program. And so I think it just took some time to figure out, okay, how do we shift some things so that we can still present it to the students, but it's a moment that's worth it. And we saw it as the students, in those final ceremonies and final moments, they still had that impact and that wow, similar to what we saw where it was in person. Now, granted, it wasn't us in a circle and we didn't, we couldn't have our ceremony with the fire and all of that and just kind of talking and making those connections. But I think it showed that with a lot of intentionality and effort and creativity, anything is possible. I think because of the pandemic, it also forced folks to want to go outside more, because they go, hey, I'm tired of being inside too. So they, they were running to it, which is awesome. But it just showed that people are healing. So just even if we're getting together on the Zoom call, there was a lot of community and